Hi everyone, I'm Jamie. I'm here to talk to you about a new proposed plan to reduce the problems caused by the debt ceiling rising over the past years. According to BBC News, $17 trillion is our current debt ceiling level, and is expected to rise to $23 trillion in the next 5 years. So the rising debt ceiling has caused many societal problems like affecting employment opportunities, lowering average income, and even creating health problems. So I want you to raise your hand if you are about to when you get out of college and you're going to have to get a job on your own without your parents' help. Alright, I'm going to talk to you about employment first and how you will be affected by the debt crisis. According to CNN, 1/3 of graduate students in 2013 were actually employed with non-degree seeking jobs. So this means that there were entry-level jobs that didn't pay as well as being a bartender or waitresses in America today. Actually, I met a friend in my fraternity. His name is Ben Smith. He graduated from UMBC with a double major in American politics and political science, and he's a manager at a sushi restaurant downtown. So he told me that it's just better. It just had better pay for working in the food industry today. So our parents and ourselves worked so hard, spent so much money and time on our college tuition, and if nothing has changed today, 1/3 of us could be working in jobs that we won't even be interested in, as won't be even our academic passion. So what has happened is that the job market is significantly reduced in America. Also, the financial instability has forced U.S. companies to outsource jobs to developing countries like China and India. The Journal from Review of International Economics reviews that 3.3 million jobs will move overseas by 2015. And secondly, the rising debt ceiling has led to increasing in taxes. InvestorPlace.com says that $230,000, the average American will be in $230,000 in debt with $500 in saving. And the Tax Policy Center reviews that there will be a rise of $1,200 in household taxes in the last few years. So the government had to increase tax levels because of the debt ceiling. Thirdly, the financial debt has also caused Americans to suffer health conditions. Research from the Federal Bank of San Francisco reports that there had been increases cases of financial-related health conditions, such as increasing blood pressure, depression, and anxiety. So in order to lessen these societal effects from the rising debt ceiling, I propose to institute a reform on the current Budget Act, which will contain the budget deficit and address the problems created directly. I'll also explain to you why the benefits of this budget will outweigh the cost of this Reformed Act. So I'll first introduce to you my proposed plan to reform the Budget Act. As you all know, last year in 2013, CNN reports that there was a 2-week government shutdown, and this is caused because of the two parties unable to agree on the new Budget Act, and it actually resulted in $55 million in debt. So for my new proposal for the new Budget Act, it is important that we have both parties in the government to agree on this new Budget Act. Secondly, the Budget Act will include strictly controlling the U.S. from borrowing any money from foreign countries unless the budget deficit has reduced significantly. It will directly address the problems created, such as helping income families, creating employment opportunities, and providing tax breaks for families who are severely in debt. There will be also an advertising campaign on this reform to advise Americans on how to budget and how the budget deficit reduced significantly. The funds will come from not from increasing taxes. The taxes will remain the same levels, and the funds will come from budget cuts from non-essential sectors such as military. According to Business Insider, there were $640 million spent in military in the last year, and which is more than 1/3 of the entire government spending. So when funds are critically insufficient, I think it's only fair that there should be budget cuts also in government officials' salaries, as it was their fault in the first place that has put America in this place. So the act and bill will be administrated and reinforced by the president himself, as American suffering should be his top priority. Secondly, when this bill is agreed between the two parties, it would significantly reduce the societal problems created by the budget deficit. So to tackle the employment problems created, small businesses, small startups will be allowed extended loans and and there will be many investments on small startups. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, small startups account for 20% of gross job creation. So giving small startup loans and investment on these companies will allow many jobs to be created. Also in poorer areas and lower income areas, there will be the government will provide fundings to other companies to create jobs. To solve the the wealth problems in the U.S., the tax breaks will allow families to move away to save money and build wealth. And to reduce the health problems, the advertising campaign will reassure the population that the country's debt will be lowered over time, encourage families to be optimistic, and to know about the steps and measures for the budget deficit to reduce. Okay, so lastly, the cost of this proposal will come at a cost of from the non-essential sectors. However, the long-term benefits would definitely outweigh the short-term costs. Over time, college graduates will be employed with quality jobs, which will lead to advancement of technology and innovation in the U.S. There will be less families in financial trouble, so that there will be more income for each family to be able to spend back into the economy. There will be less people at homes disputing about money, and less people will be stressed and have anxiety over money problems. And also, health is something that money cannot buy, so it will be priceless for the country to have a lower number of health issues. Although this plan will come at a cost, but it will be for sure to boost the economy and reduce the budget deficit. So in conclusion, to finish off my speech, I hope everyone here is more educated about how serious the financial problem is. I explained to you how the proposal will reform the Budget Act. I showed you how the steps in the act to restrict the budget deficit, and I explained to you how the benefits of this act will outweigh the costs. So if this current trend was to continue, many of us might be struggling when we graduate, and we will have a lot of credit card bills and live a life with maybe chronic health problems. It's not a life that I picture it to be, and I'm sure it's not one that you want to be in too. So knowing that the government doesn't provide us a platform to succeed, so would you just not just sit there and not push for reform? To end off my speech, money, I think you've all heard about this quote before, money cannot buy happiness, but I'm sure that if you were always in debt, you won't be happy then as well. Thank you.